Baby, I'm back. So I feel like playing that song, Baby, I'm back. So it's been a while and it's been a bit cray. It is now May 2nd, and I know I haven't shared any podcast since early April, which is extremely unusual for me. For those of you that tune in, usually you know that. Those of you that don't, welcome, welcome, welcome. And it is very unusual. I usually drop two-ish or sometimes more episodes a week. However, as you possibly heard on the last episode, Creator Confessions for April, I've been traveling with my parents through Thailand and Bali next. And my mom had a health experience, I'm going to call it, between the earthquake, a balance disorder, about 5 days in a Chiang Mai hospital, and I gave myself the space and grace to focus on top priorities and to have lessons learned on what to shift and scale next, and to be present and to be and all the above. So my original intention was, like the several last episodes that I shared, was to batch record the videos with and at the co-working spaces in Chiang Mai for the last four-ish blog posts that I had pre-scheduled 30 plus days out. However, with all the things going on, I knew I was not in the energetic state or flow or focus on top of everything else to batch create 4 or 5 different videos within a day. And I gave myself that permission, that power, that peace. That is my normal way of flowing, as you've seen a lot of videos come across like that, many of you across YouTube or across my podcast, emails, etc. And I am also researching just a bit of a preview into my Creator Confessions coming up for April alignment. I am not only researching AI avatars like Delphi AI, which one of the programs that I'm in with Brendan Bouchard, he uses. Also creating long form AI videos like on Synthesia and even more. Because if you know anything about me, I am huge on both authenticity and alignment. And also one of my core values is freeing up my time. And with the personalization of AI, with the ability to use AI, I've used an AI and shared several podcast episodes recently this year and or late last year. I think it was last year. You'll have to look. At the same time, scaling. So whether that's automation, AI, teams, etc., it's all the above. So let's get into this episode, because likely you clicked on this because of the title, and I want to honor that. So like I said, my original intention was to create the video, repurpose it for the show. However, I realized, especially traveling to Bali tomorrow, I said, wait a minute. I am not going to batch create videos until May 13th. I could wait. However, the spirit and flow of a lot of those videos is going to be music, high vibe, etc. And I may still repurpose it on the show and do an A/B test to see whether this one does better and just pure voice, or the other one that's repurposed from the video that I will record at a villa and or at a studio. I've been researching different content studios in Bali and in Thailand. I found an incredible one called Yellow in Chiang Mai, but we were leaving the next day. So hashtag first world problems. So with that, I did not want to delay any further to share this incredible content because one, I released a press release on it with over 100 plus different news outlets. I've shared over 1,000 emails, actually probably like 5,000 to direct decision makers on via Apollo.io on this incredible opportunity with influencer marketing and brands and creators. And also am lining up content with Instagram and so on and so forth. So I realized, wait a minute, I'm moving ahead on different things like creator games, creator school, but wait a minute, I'm not yet in alignment here. So I get to back up, record the podcast, make sure that the video goes out on YouTube, repurpose that for short form AI, via Instagram, YouTube, etc., and then create aligned swipe files for Instagram, trend videos, etc. So, and I didn't want to leave you guys waiting because I know several of you have seen this blog post on my blog at fitlifecreation.com. So if you want visuals and if you love to learn both in listening and in reading, which I highly, highly, highly recommend, as a neurodivergent, multi-passionate, reining the focus in, it helps you massively retain. There's a lot of studies, massively focus when you listen and read at the same time. So, 8 million for 30 seconds, why brands are ditching Super Bowl ads for influencers. So for decades, brands have spent millions on Super Bowl commercials. So pro tip and fun fact, when you go to my blog post on this and you click on the hyperlink, on certain hyperlinks, I have linked the specific website for going back years to decades that list all the Super Bowl ads for all the brands that you can access. Ding, 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 millions of dollars of value at your fingertips. So brands have spent millions on Super Bowl commercials and with escalating increasing costs, hoping for a few seconds of attention. But now smart companies are shifting their budgets and are integrating those budgets depending on the size of the brand and the size of the budget and the return on investment. Listen to what I'm saying. To social media marketing, influencer marketing, partnerships, and long-term brand storytelling, and the results speak for themselves. Unpopular opinion. I did not even watch the Super Bowl this year or the halftime shows. A lot of you I know just had your jaw drop or can't even fathom or imagine. Again, I am, somewhat of a interested football fan, interested in halftime show, but the last show I can remember watching was the Rihanna show. And last year I did watch halftime. I think that was last year or the year before, whatever it was. So the Super Bowl ad price versus social media ROI. So those of you that are both creative and analytical like me are going to love this. And those of you that are both big picture and detail oriented are going to love this. Okay. And again, you can follow along on the blog post at fitlifecreation.com/blog and simply search. If you don't see it readily when you scroll, depending on when you find this episode, simply scroll or look in the drop. In the little magnifying glass, you can type 8 million, or you can type Super Bowl, or you can type ditching Super Bowl, any of those things on the title. Okay. So the cost of a 30-second Super Bowl ad in 2025 was $8 million. Okay. That does not include production, celebration endorsements, or additional marketing around the ad. So some of you may or may not know, I am also a CPA, a certified public accountant, or a chartered accountant for those of you in Europe. Now, full disclaimer, my license is not currently active. I did not renew it again, fully released it, no problem. If a brand decides that they have to have me have an active CPA, side note, all my education is actually completed and active. But if another brand decides, or if I feel compelled to submit and, have the state of Texas reinstate it, I may do that, but I did pass all 4 parts. I did have an active license. It became inactive during during COVID. I reactivated it, and then due to some complexity and complication, it didn't get reactivated. So anyway, I fully released it, have peace and power all around it. So with all that being said, my brain operates highly under both the creative and big picture and the analytical. And I constantly evaluate or take a pause to evaluate my priorities, my purpose, and the return on investment on my time. And I also do that with actions around whether it's media, whether it's launches, whether it's projects. And I evaluate both from quality and quantity. So, that can mean awareness, that can mean earned media, that can mean, in terms of influencer marketing, that can mean in terms of quality of content, quality of time, creators work with, relationships formed. And yes, impressions, reach, engagement, clicks, sales. And if you love that, you definitely want to go to my bit.ly/influencer marketing like a boss, where I have an influencer marketing book, which includes a study and 5 steps to build your brand with influencers, a free webinar, a influencer marketing course that also is part of Creator School if you choose to upgrade. So you can get the course and or you can upgrade to the full Creator School experience, which includes the course and 4+ AI agents, to name some of the incredible aspects of the 12 steps of the Creator School, which is the only Creator School you will ever need. So, of course, I have marveled at the creative marketing genius and enjoyed Super Bowl ads before. At the same time, that does not mean I took action from them. So listen to what I'm saying. That means in that case, I'm interested, I laugh, I'm curious, but I don't take action. There's no compelling call to action for me. An example I remember years ago is there's some of the Doritos commercials. I do not and choose not to consume chips for over 10 years. So doesn't matter how funny, how engaging, how interactive that those commercials are. I choose to align with healthy lifestyle choices. Now, this may be a pro tip to Doritos. If they choose to create a chip with quinoa, with high protein, they may convert someone like me. And I'm super surprised, actually, and this just came to me. This isn't even in the blog post. So this is a divine download. And this is why I always tell people, listen to my show. Because I share a lot in the blog, but also a lot of things come through when I record on the show or in my videos. I'm surprised with the increase in wellness, the increase in travel, in lifestyle, in biohacking, that Doritos hasn't done that. Or maybe they have, and I've simply been out of the loop because I assume they've stayed, true to the original brand, right? So I digress, but I think that is paramount and could create them millions to billions of dollars with a healthy chip. And it also comes inspired from Herbalife, because Herbalife Nutrition came out with protein chips a couple years ago, and I love them. So as part of my research solely for this article, I glanced at the Super Bowl ads. And again, if you go to my blog post, within the Super Bowl ads, several times I have those ads and that site hyperlinked. So that alone is amazing insight for you as brands and as creators. I skimmed through them, and the only brands are brands that caught my attention as relatable for me as part of my financial background first for 2025 was TurboTax. I have used TurboTax for over 10 years. While I enjoyed the creativity behind the Super Bowl ad, especially for financial professionals. So you guys, I've taught CPAs for over 7 to 15 years, and I would create or partner with, different creative vendors like the lemonade stand game to teach non-financial professionals, like especially in oil and gas finances, or I would create games like Jeopardy with CPAs and people from all different industries. So this ad with Issa Rae's performance caught my attention because I love her acting, and she talks about taking the cake, and I am still not sold on the strategy of brands using Super Bowl ads because, again, $8 million for the cost of entry, plus the production, plus the celebrity, plus the filming, that's a pretty, elevated ROI stair step, so to speak, or mountain or staircase to climb to even break even. As I glanced through the Super Bowl 2025 recap on CNBC News, which is also hyperlinked in the blog, I clicked on the Uber Eats commercial with Matthew McConaughey and other actors because of the rave reviews. At the same time, for both of the Super Bowl ads, I added up the $8 million for 30 seconds, the celebrity endorsements, the production, the filming cost estimates. I would not be surprised if that price tag was well over $16 million, okay? For each, not both, for each. $8 million for, the listing on Super Bowl, plus the celebrities, plus the production, plus the repurposing, whatever the case is, right? Plus the videographers, on and on and on. So I'm talking $32 million for Uber Eats, 16 million for Uber Eats, 16 million for TurboTax, combined 32. That's a guesstimate, right? Based on several factors. So for creators and brands, any investment should consider the impact to the team, the bottom line, alternate use of funds, and the return on investment, or ROI. An $8 million investment should consider the impact, listen to what I'm saying, to employee morale to a whole new level and the lifetime legacy and the results of the commercial. This is not about the entertainment value of Super Bowl ads. This is about the investment, the legacy, the ROI, and the alignment. Now, for example, if brands created the ad as part of a learning curriculum and still gave bonuses to employees and created a year-long influencer marketing strategy, it is a different ballgame, pun intended. Of course, it is cool to have an ad in the Super Bowl. Of course, it creates a legacy. But do you really need 15 ads in the Super Bowl? I mean, some brands, I'm not going to name names, but you can click the link in the Super Bowl ads and see some brands repeatedly invest. And it's like, okay, really do you really even have an ROI on that? Or is someone's ego involved? I'm going to be real. I wonder about the tracking of the results with reach, view, clicks, conversions, and sales. And speaking of real, and speaking of egos, like some of the things I did as a chief audit executive with brands was I would evaluate what each department was doing, whether it was IT, whether it was finance, whether it was marketing, and where the money was going, if they were spending wisely, and what was the ROI. Like one CIO that I, inevitably and honestly unapologetically got fired, ended up not getting 3 different quotes for an IT project. He ended up signing off on a project that was $1 million that ended up being $10 million and still was not in completion. Not to mention there was an evident conflict of interest in the fact that he did not get a minimum of 3 bids. So if I redirect that same focus to marketing like I have in the past and like I'm doing now, if I was evaluating whatever company, TurboTax, Uber Eats, it would be like, okay, great. What did you spend total in? What's the ROI on the quality side? And let's monetize that and put, numbers to it like goodwill on financial statements. And then let's look at the real ROI. And okay, if you've done an ad once or twice or maybe once every decade, you can realize that ROI. But if you're doing it every year, like really, is that, let me show you why Mr. and Mrs. CMO and Mr. and Mrs. Board of Directors, why this is not a reliable or necessarily valuable or intelligent use of your funds. And let me continue why before you sign off, or maybe some of you are getting heated because you love halftime or you love the commercials, right? Don't worry, brands will still step up or still participate, because here's another component, you guys. I wonder about the tracking with reach, views, clicks, conversions, and sales. I wonder about the employee morale of knowing the brand intimately, the raise they received that year, and knowing that the brand spent $8 million on 30 seconds, not counting the rest of the costs, the celebrity endorsements, the production, the videographers, the film, etc. I wonder if they even told them ahead of time or even asked for input or even created a creativity or a cultural movement in the brand around it. Okay? Because imagine, let's say some of you may work for a brand that listed Super Bowl ads. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say you work for TurboTax. And let's say you're working as a marketing manager. I'll take a middle of the road, right? And what they spent because you have access to that and or you're part of the team. And part of you feels excited and proud, right? Human emotion. But part of you is like, wait a minute, I only got if you were lucky, if you were blessed in a lot of what's happening in today's companies and brands, you may say you got a 3% bonus or a 3% raise and or a 3% bonus. But I know the reality from being in corporate in the past that many of you did not receive a dime. So let me mic drop on that, okay? This is about brands taking responsibility for the use of funds, often as public companies, to the people. For example, I have followed Aggie, aka a fellow multi-passionate traveler and Polish-born entrepreneur for years. I love what her husband, Jacob, the creator and owner of a creative non-agency, shared on brands that spent $8 million on a Super Bowl commercial missed the mark. And I hyperlinked that into the blog post. So shout out to Aggie and Jacob. Jacob isn't the only one who thinks so. Several influencer marketing platforms I have worked with on the brand agency and influencer agree. Aspire.io, Influencer Intelligence, and Neo Reach and Later Media highlight traditional advertising, Super Bowl, and influencer marketing IOI. I created an amazing Instagram reel on how Netflix in the movie Uma broke down how influencer marketing and how Netflix makes it simple. I'll definitely share it in the video on my YouTube. Working with a brand considering a Super Bowl ad. Oh, actually, I'll play it. Hold on. Oh, I can't play it because then I'll unplug it. Basically, the two actors go back and forth on how an influencer and a blogger blew up her honey because she shared how amazing it was. And then the guy, Dermot, I think is the actor, is like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know whatever, but all I know is like your sales are going through the roof. So people may not understand influencer marketing, but they understand the impact when it's used effectively. It's like word of mouth. It's like me, your creator bestie, telling your besties, sharing this podcast, and then you sharing it on and on and on. Working with a brand considering a Super Bowl ad in a collaboration with Later Media and Visa, they named me top 10 out of thousands of submissions for influencer marketing strategies. So if I was working with your brand or a brand that you know or any brand considering a Super Bowl ad, here's how I would approach it. Number one, creating a year-long social media management campaign around the creative idea. A team of creators ranging from 7 to 100, including creators like Mr. Beast, Jenny Hoyas, Aggie, and Jacob. Clearly you have the budget. Clearly the brand has the budget for all of these things. Multiple types of content from long form to short form to written to AI to repurposing. So literally taking the content 10x, 100x, lifetime X. Aligning to launch time and offers all year shared on creative and creator platforms. Total budget $4 million to max, and I'll tell you what I would do with the other $8 million. And I'm likely already saving the company over $8 million because again, celebrity endorsements, la. This would range from 1 to 7 pieces of content per creator. This is 7 pieces of content to 700. The earned media on this content with creators like the one spotlighted below is well over $8 million alone. This is not counting the community, the actual content, the conversions, the virality, the momentum, and the legacy. The momentum for the week, the month, the quarter, the year, beyond. So think one of my other blog posts and podcasts that ties to this massively is Barbie is a $1 billion genius. What would I propose with the rest of the budget? You might say, well, okay, already we're saving over 8 million because again, in my assumption, the total was 16, right? So I already cut out the 8, $2 million in bonuses to employees. Yes, mic drop. Because if your employees don't align and aren't taken care of, guess what? They feel like they're neglected. And shouldn't you take care of home first? And $1 million to help in homelessness in the cities where the company is headquartered, and $1 million saved. These are minimums, people. Imagine the impact, the influence, and income of the year-long campaign, the employee bonuses, the giving, and the millions saved. We would have a culture, we would have companies, we would have countries, we would have cities being transformed. That is not counting all the ROI from all the content, clicks, and sales. The 30 seconds played to millions of viewers is featured on media sources. I am not blind to the fact that the 30 seconds gets played over and over. At the same time, when I glanced at the views on the Uber Eats ad on YouTube currently, and we're talking about April, May-ish, it has about 600,000 views, which compared to the one short below that has over 12 million on Jenny's channel alone. Imagine if she was on our campaign and created 3 to 7 videos. Imagine. Take a look at creators like Mr. Beast, which if you haven't heard of, I don't know where you've been. His view on one video in a week to a month, his views range from 77 million up to 162 million on videos. And this was me just taking a screenshot of 5 videos. Imagine integrating a contest or a game for our campaign and working with Mr. Beast and Amazon. He's on Amazon. Take a look at creators like Ashley Renee that I and we have worked with at live activations. She focuses on sustainability and vegan parenting and more. She does smart home tech, she does travel around the world, and she integrates her family. This creator-driven brand activation with fitness fuses with fashion in Atlanta with Nike that I did illustrates the power of creating community and content while giving back to help in homelessness. Super Bowl versus influencer marketing case studies. So now we're dialing it deeper on Nike versus Gymshark versus Herbalife. By comparison, brands investing in social media and influencer marketing may see higher engagement, long-term brand loyalty, and better conversions for a fraction of the cost. Speaking of Nike, for example, Nike has spent hundreds of millions on Super Bowl ads over the years. However, their social media campaigns featuring athletes, wellness influencers, and everyday creators, so they do both, generate massive organic reach and foster deeper emotional connections. Yes, this is me. So in my blog post, I share an amazing post and photo that I did with Brett Seeley, and someone told me this should be a Nike ad. I agree. I saw some of his shots from years ago of fitness models and influencers running and catching a shot mid-shot. And I ended up being able to create it in San Diego. A single Nike influencer campaign may cost less than 5% of the Super Bowl ad. Let that sink in. Side note, that image that I just talked about is, of course, in my blog. At the same time, the same Nike influencer campaign may generate millions of impressions and ongoing engagement for years to come. At the same time, this same Nike influencer campaign may generate millions of impressions and ongoing engagement for months, not just one night. This is not counting repurposing that content for an ad. Compare that to Gymshark, which has never run a Super Bowl ad, but built a billion-dollar brand by partnering with fitness influencers, trainers, and real-life success stories. Their grassroots, community-driven marketing approach has helped them dominate the fitness industry without a single TV commercial. ROI comparison, Nike versus Gymshark. Nike's Super Bowl ad investment estimated $100 million over the years. Nike's social media and ROI on influencer marketing, millions of engagements per campaign, strong brand loyalty, and sustained conversions. Gymmark's social media strategy and ROI built a billion-dollar brand with influencer partnerships without spending on TV ads, rapid growth, high retention, and a loyal community. Herbalife's authentic storytelling strategy. You may or may not know I lost over 55 pounds in 2014 with healthy habits, competing in fitness shows, and Herbalife Nutrition, the #1 global nutritional brand. My first year in sharing my story on social media on Facebook alone grew my business 25 times. I was also running Inclusivity at the time, a consulting company mainly on CFO/COO, Chief Operating Officer type work. And then I was also traveling the country, speaking and creating trainings and publishing with the American Institute of CPAs. This is the power of storytelling and sharing on my social media, both on my podcast and on the blog LinkedIn within the link in the show notes, as well as on my YouTube channel, Limitless Global Girl. I have an incredible video on the 4 a.m. moment that changed everything and how I cried when I saw my first transformation pictures after my first fitness photo shoot with Brett Seeley, because I didn't believe I had transformed to that degree, and a picture worth 25x in revenue. Are you next to create it? Disclaimer, the average person who uses Herbalife Nutrition with a healthy, active lifestyle loses a half a pound to a pound a week. Unlike traditional ad-heavy brands, Herbalife leverages social media and creative-driven storytelling to showcase real entrepreneur, creator, and customer results. Instead of spending millions on Super Bowl ads, they empower their independent distributors and creators to share personal wellness transformations, lifestyle benefits, and community experiences. Some of my favorites are Rebecca Louise Nutrition, Style Bell, Garen Jones, Blair Jones, Celeste Richmond, Laura Holloway, Fit Couple. You may follow Fit Couple on Instagram. The list goes on and on. This authentic marketing builds trust, loyalty, and long-term relationships that convert far better than one-time ad impressions ever will. Even with sponsored athletes, which Herbalife does sponsor over 200 athletes globally, Herbalife Global Nutrition requires they use the products for 6 months first to have an authentic story and testimonial. ROI comparisons on Herbalife versus traditional ads. Super Bowl ad ROI, traditional brands. Short-term buzz, high cost per impression, no long-term engagement. Herbalife social media ROI, continuous engagement, direct customer interactions, results, and community-driven sales. Why influencer and social media marketing wins. Here's why social media and influencer marketing partnerships are outperforming traditional Super Bowl ads. Cost effective. First of all, your wallet wins. 8 million could fund hundreds, if not thousands of influencer partnerships and your full year and targeted ad campaigns. Because once we co-create, say, your 1-year plan, then we, team up with the creators. We dial in the content, we repurpose the content, and we repurpose it with ads. The targeted reach. Brands reach niche audiences who actually care about their products. That's not I didn't even mention, you guys, that's also considering the live activations like I talked about with Fitness Fuses with fashion and with my creator retreats that are included into different options with the influencer marketing program and influencer marketing management, whether it's for brands or creators, whether it's a week, a month, a quarter, or a year. And retreats are included at the 1 month or longer aspect now, which as a creator, as a company, that's subject to change. Authenticity and trust. People trust recommendations with real creators more than celebrity stuff TV ads. It's people they know, people they see. Many times it's people they've met. Why brands are ditching Super Bowl ads for influencers. Marketing is evolving fast, friends. I mean, we're talking influencer marketing, we're talking ads, we're talking AI, we're talking all the things. Brands aren't just selling anymore. It's about storytelling. It's about creating. It's about collaborating with creator-driven communities. That's why top brands or the brands on the horizon, the creators on the horizon, are ditching things like traditional Super Bowl ads, typical stuffy marketing, and investing in creators who create content, courses, community, conversions, and cash. Why? Because influencer marketing is targeted, more authentic, more cost effective, more scalable. This shift ties perfectly into my series on 7 ways to create content like a boss, the Bali edition, the influencer marketing series, and creator school. Whether you are a brand who wants to create or a creator, now is the time to master social first strategies online and in real life with content, courses, and community to create it like a boss. Our creator retreats are incredible ways for brands and creators alike to love, create, and play. And we've both partnered and placed brands and created custom retreats and creators. You can check that out on my video, Love, Create, Play, Creator Retreats. This is your time to create. Also on my YouTube channel, also hyperlinked within this blog post in the link in the show notes. This is your year. This is the time for you to create it like a boss. Share this post, tag me in stories, IG stories, or DM me as you create your creator business via Katrina Julia Fit. Leave a review on the show. I would love to give you a shout out. Include your Instagram handle and/or your website. And as always, friends, remember, create, transform, and inspire because you are born to.